How does the brand new SmallHD Action 5 monitor stack up against the very popular SmallHD Focus 5? We're gonna take a side-by-side look, and is it actually an upgrade or is it possibly a downgrade? Let's check it out. Here's the Action 5 at 0% brightness. Now I'm gonna turn it up to 100% brightness to match the Focus 5 that's already at 100% brightness. So you can see just how much brighter the Action 5 is over the Focus 5. Now I have the Action 5 at 50% and the Focus 5 at 100%. That way they match exposure a little better for the video. The Action 5 has a slightly larger display at 5.5 inches, with the Focus 5 coming in at exactly 5 inches. The Action 5 has full-size HDMI in and out ports, which is so nice to have over the Focus 5 that only had micro HDMI and no HDMI loop out. So what I'm doing is looping out of the Action 5 and then inputting back into the Focus 5, so both screens have the same video input. On the right side of the Action 5, you have a 1/4-20 thread for mounting, and it's also replaceable in case the threading goes bad. Whereas on the Focus 5, you have 1/4-20 threads for mounting, but they're not replaceable. On the top of the Action 5, there are no threads for mounting, and on top of the Focus 5, you have 1/4-20 thread mounts. On the back of the Action 5, it has a design that almost looks like a heatsink, and there's actually an opening for an internal fan. So when you're using that full 2000 nits brightness and it starts to get hot, it can cool itself down. Whereas on the Focus 5, it has that heatsink design too, but there is no internal fan for overheating. The Action 5 also has 1/4-20 thread mounts on the back of the monitor, so it gives you an additional spot for mounting. On the bottom, you have your 1/4-20 thread mounts that are replaceable, and then you also have a DC out that's 8 volts for powering a camera, and you have your headphone input for monitoring audio. It also has a USB port, and they give you this little USB dongle that you can use for loading custom LUTs or doing firmware updates. The only bummer is that it sticks out a lot, so depending on how you mount the monitor, it could get in the way. On the bottom of the Focus 5, you have your 8 volt out, your micro HDMI, your micro USB ports. You also have 1/4-20 threads for mounting, headphone jack, and a full-size SD card slot for loading LUTs, and you can keep it in the monitor at all times so you can have tons of LUTs available to you. I also noticed that the Action 5 gets a lot more fingerprints than the Focus 5, so end up cleaning it a lot more because the entire front display is made of glass instead of the plastic bezel you have on the Focus 5. Now, something worth noting, because the Focus 5 is so popular and has been around for a long time, there are a lot of accessories for it. So the first thing is I always like to run a cage on my monitors just to protect them a little bit better. This is a simple and affordable one from SmallRig, and it just lets me know that if I accidentally drop it or it goes face down or something, it's gonna protect the screen a little bit. Because the Action 5 is so new, there aren't any cages out for it yet, but I'm sure that they will make one eventually. Another thing is that you can use monitor hoods with the SmallHD Focus, and SmallHD actually makes one that clips on really nice like that, and I haven't seen them making one yet for the Action 5. Hopefully something like that is coming in the future. Even though this is extremely bright at 2000 nits brightness, I still like using a monitor hood because it helps just that much more and it reduces those reflections and glares. The Action OS is extremely simple. So when you tap on the screen, you get 4 options: frame, focus, expose, and look. Let's take a look at frame first. So when I tap this on, you'll see that I have it set to the 2:4:0 aspect ratio, but you can actually customize this more. So just tap on settings, tap on frame. So you can do 1:8:5, 4:3, or 9:16 for those vertical videos. You can also turn on safe guides and set them anywhere from 95 to 80%. And the final option inside of frame is turning on a crosshair. Now let's take a look at the frame guide options on the Focus 5. So you can actually set up custom menus, and so I already have aspect set up as one of the options. And if you tap on the arrow, you'll get a whole bunch of other options. So we can change the ratio from 9:16 to something like 16:9, 1:8:5, 4:3, or even 1:1, which you don't have on the Action 5. You can also change the opacity of the matte to make it more transparent or fully black it out, and you can even change the color of it if you don't want it to be black. Now let's take a look at focus on the Action 5. So really what this is focus peaking. You can turn it on and off, and you can go into settings and make a few minor adjustments to it. So you can change it from high down to mid or low, and you can also change the color of the focus peaking so you can see it better depending on your eyes. Let's take a look at focus assist on the Action 5. So if you tap on the arrow, you're going to get a lot more options for your focus peaking. So right away, you can change the color of it, and you get a lot more color options than you do on the Action 5. You can also adjust the sensitivity. So it can go anywhere from 0 to 10, 10 just being absolutely insanely sensitive. You can also adjust the peak thresh and put that anywhere from 0 to 100. You can also make the background black and white so that only the focus peaking is in color. You can change the brightness, and you can also adjust the contrast. Now let's look at the expose tool on the Action 5, which essentially is your false color. You have two options, either spectrum or airy. I like to use airy personally, and I also keep the exposure guide turned on so I can see what IRE everything is exposed at. And that's it for expose. You don't have waveforms, zebras, histograms, or anything else. Now with exposure assist on the Focus 5, you have a lot more options. Of course, you have airy or spectrum. You also have map 1, 2, and 3. And then there are a bunch of other settings that you can dial in. If you're using LUTs, you can turn on ignore look. That way the false colors shows you accurate readings for the camera versus what the LUT sees. You can also turn the IRE guide on or off, or change the location of it if you don't like where it's placed. There are also a bunch of other exposure assist tools you can use, like WAVEFORM, and you can completely customize them, have them ignore the LUTs, or use the different styles like Luma, RGB, and Parade. You can also use zebras, and they're fully customizable, so you can set your minimum IRE and your maximum IRE, which is perfect for exposing skin tones, so you can get them in the exact spot you want them to be. You can even change the color of the zebras. You also have your common histogram, which is fully customizable in the menus as well. The final tool on the Action 5 is Look, so that's basically your LUTs. You can turn that on, go into settings, tap on Look, and then you have a couple options. There are some preloaded LUTs, and then you can load in your own custom LUTs, so I loaded in a few different Sony S-Log ones, and you should be able to save up to 3 custom LUTs internally. On the Focus, you also have Look, which is for turning on LUTs, and you can load in all different custom LUTs. The nice thing is you can keep that SD card inserted, so you can have many more available to you. Perhaps one of the best features of the Focus 5 is Page OS, so you can set up all different custom tools on each page depending on what you need, whether it's exposure or focusing or whatever it may be. You can quickly get to them and customize each of those menus. Whereas on the Action 5, you just have this one page and these 4 tools available to you, which if you want things really simple and fast, this could be really great. Both monitors support pinch to zoom, so you can check your focus, but the Action 5 only has 2x zoom and 4x zoom, whereas on the Focus, you can pretty much zoom in infinitely and at any increment that you want to, just like you would experience on a smartphone. What are my final thoughts on the Action 5 versus the Focus 5? Well, first of all, this has been discontinued. So if you want to pick one up, you're going to have to buy it used on something like eBay. Now, if you want to get a SmallHD monitor with Page OS and all those different features packed into it, you can't get it at an affordable price point like you used to be able to with this. You're going to be spending upwards of $1,500 to $1,700 for a monitor with Page OS, something like the SmallHD 7-inch monitors. So with a price point of only $330 US, this is an absolute steal. You're getting that 2000 nits brightness in full 1080p resolution, and you get the full-size HDMI in and out. Those two things, I think, make this a really good buy. SmallHD did not send me either of these monitors. I paid for them with my own money, and these are my own opinions. All right, guys, if you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe right now, and I'll see you in the next video.